I'm going to talk about resilience and how it manifests in people who have avoidant personality disorder. Um, First of all, to go back, I have a theory about it, which is they say that to become avoidant, that it takes two things. It takes a genetic predisposition, and also that then you need to have some sort of childhood abuse that triggers it. And my theory is that the genetic part is in part, or maybe more than just part, low resilience. Now, there are debates about whether the level of somebody's resilience is innate or learned or etc. I personally think that there's kind of a spectrum, and sort of like the happiness spectrum, where somebody has like a baseline amount where they're just, this is their average happy. The same with average resilience. I don't think that it's impossible to move it, and I think that you can be very aware and you can practice it and you can get it to change. But I think having the lower end of the spectrum, I think that's one of the things that makes avoidant people avoidant. So what resilience is, by definition, is they say that it's bouncing back from adversity. And it's basically, like that Timex ad, can you take a licking and keep on ticking? That's what resilience is. I recently read something that I thought was absolute genius, which was, it's not entirely the bouncing back part of getting back to where you were that's really important about resilience. It's the getting through it, and being able to persevere. But apparently that's a different thing. That's the definition of grit. If you put your mind to something and you just force yourself to go through it, and that's what you're going to do, then that is grit. In my opinion, this really feels foreign to me because it feels like I'm almost giving myself sort of a compliment. I think the grit level that I have is pretty good. Can't believe I just said that. Anyway, I do. I think that I can tolerate quite a bit, and I can force myself to continue when the chips are down and force myself to get through something. But this is where it nails me, is that I sort of don't have the way to gauge of, is this too much? I get through everything. It doesn't matter what gets thrown at me. And I hear it all the time. Oh my goodness, you're so strong. Again, that sounded really close to being a compliment. But I hear it and I don't believe it, and it's complete crap to me because I don't feel like it's a choice. I feel like people who are mentally strong, it's a choice that they have. With me, no. This is something has appeared and I just have to do it. And I don't have a choice. I just have to get through. People who have a choice and persevere, they're awesome. People who, cling and survive, that's what roaches do. Okay, that's more like it. That's like nailed all of the compliments down to being dirt and nothing. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that's definitely a difference, is that yes, I have the grit. The thing is that I don't have the resilience. I will be able to force myself to squeeze every drop out to get whatever needs to get done, and then I'm like a puddle in the floor and I can't function anymore. So this new sort of blurring of those two concepts that I heard was that the key to resilience isn't the bouncing back, and that people shouldn't focus on the bouncing back. It's that they should try to focus on the getting through, and not to get bogged down in it, but more to do, self-checks, and to be aware of where they are, and understand that whatever they're doing is some bizarre thing that's not, this is not the way life is always going to be. This is just how it is right now, and this is what you need to do to get through it, and to be aware of if you're going too far outside of your bounds, and to be able to put the, sort of shut everything down if you're going too far outside of where you need to be. I think that's kind of genius. That if you can, it makes the resilient part, the bouncing back part, easier if you can be aware of yourself and really do the check-ins, and really say, okay, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. And I know it's hard to explain what I'm saying. I mean, I got it in my head. I know what I want to say. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing that repetitive thing where you totally got it, and I'm just spinning my tires, saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, that seems to be a big thing. If you can, basically, again, just be aware when you're thrown in the fire pit, that it's temporary, most likely. That even if it seems like it's untemporary, or in whatever, it's not temporary. That that life changes all the time. That's really hard for me. It's really, especially dealing with other people, it's really hard for me to think that people change their opinions and change their minds. But in a really weird way, maybe, I don't know, makes sense to me. I always expect that people sort of come to their senses if they have sort of a positive reaction to me, but then if they have a negative reaction to me, I can't conceive that they will turn that back around. It's like, okay, it's like inertia in space. You go shooting off in one direction, and that's the direction you go, and you're just going to keep going that way forever. And the idea that something can curve back around to me is impossible. So it is really hard for me personally. Ooh, shaky video, I'm sorry. To keep in mind that, especially if it's bad, for some reason, if it's good, I totally get that it's temporary, and I totally understand that I should sort of be aware at this moment of this good thing, because it's probably not going to be there. And I really don't like other people reminding me of it, because I already know. You don't need to tell me. I know that things are going to change, and it's going to change for the worse real soon. But when things are really bad, it's crazy impossible for me to see that it's going to change for the good again. So, trying to remember that and be aware of that. Be aware of your thoughts. When you're getting sort of thinking that this is stuck, and it's going to be stuck this way, and this way it's going to be forever. Because basically, if you do that, then you can't bounce back, because you're holding yourself into this position. You're saying, getting very black and white, and saying, this is where I was, this is the way it's going to be, this is how it is for the rest of all time. When in fact, maybe whatever that really horrible thing that happened, maybe it has passed a bit, and that you can sort of, let it go a little bit. That's cat wants to come inside. He'll scratch on the window to get my attention. He's gonna have to wait a second. Anyway, I know that sounds like such a little platitude. It takes a lot of practice to be able to do that. And again, the first step is to be aware. Just know you're doing it. You don't have to change anything. Just be aware, be aware, be aware. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. That's a thought, and it's a feeling, and that is not necessarily the truth. It probably is the truth. But there's always a chance that one, it's not true, and that 2, it might change again. So if you can do that while you're in the middle of some sort of hellacious thing, again, that'll help a lot. As far as the bouncing back, again, this is the problem with the avoidant part. Avoidance people, it appears to me, I mean, I'm not an expert. I didn't go to the school, so nothing I say sort of counts. But there's another. It's mumbo jumbo, but they say they're neural pathways is what they call them. They're like roads in your head that it's thinking pathways that you just get in a habit of thinking a certain way, and so you can think this way, think this way, think this way, and then you can either do it on your own, or you can take cognitive behavioral therapy or something like that, and you can relearn those thinking patterns. You can think a different way. Instead of thinking, I'm the one that causes the sun to go down every day, and I'm so depressed that it has to run away from me. You could think, well, no, actually, the Earth goes around, it spins around the sun's axis, and the sun doesn't really go around. It's just that the Earth is moving, and it's, not pointing toward the sun, but it'll come back around again. That's not anything I did that caused the sun to go down. That is really extreme, but seriously, you are supposed to be able to do that. With an avoidant person, it appears that it doesn't allow you to override the thoughts. So the original thought, whatever it was, whatever nasty negative thing you're thinking about yourself, and is there, and then it doesn't matter how much absolute physical proof that you get, how many different examples you get that prove it wrong, if there's actually this completely other thing going on. It doesn't matter, because both of them stay there side by side. It's not that one gets erased and it gets replaced with a new one. It's that they're both there at the same time. This is why resilience is really hard for people with avoidant personality disorder, because you go into this pit and you might bounce back, but those thoughts that you were having when you were in the pit are still there. You can't get rid of them. So, again, being aware of it helps. And then you can actively make a choice. And now I've got another weird metaphor, but it's like if you're going on a trip and, there are multiple roads to get from this city to that city, you can, they'll be parallel, basically. One might have a whole bunch of traffic lights, and one might you have to pay a toll, but you can get there a lot faster. And as a driver, you get to make the choice. They're both there. They're not going away, but you can choose. And you can practice deciding, okay, I know this is the familiar, road. This is the one that was there that I grew up with, but then, there's this other road. They built the superhighway next to it, and it goes a lot faster, and it's a lot more convenient, and the road is smoother. So, yeah, I might have grown up with this bumpy road, but this other one is better for me now. So I'm going to choose, I know the other one is there, but I'm going to choose to take this other road instead. And again, that's hard, and that takes a lot of practice. But if you can learn to do that, it will help you bounce back. Where you bounce back to, it might not be exactly the same spot. You're definitely not going to forget. You'll have that experience, and it will be with you forever. But if you can do these things, if you can be aware, and then once you've gotten through whatever it is, be aware that you're past it, and that you can then make a choice. Are you going to think this way, or are you going to think that way? That is how an avoidant person can be resilient. It's not like another person who is just bounce right back, boom, it's like it never happened. That's not going to happen for an avoidant person. You got to put a little bit more effort in it, but I think it is possible if you try. Maybe. I hope.